Welcome to the NNBN podcast, talking with businesses, charities and organisations across Northamptonshire.
Sponsored by Poppy Design Studio. Find us at poppydesignstudio.com.
So the importance of having a business plan is essential for any business growth and development. And today I'm joined by Rupert Turton from Action Coach Oakham and Kettering. Rupert, welcome.
Thank you for having me as well. It's great to be here.
Yeah, no problem at all. And it's great to see what you guys do. Action Coach Oakham and Kettering, you're, well, it kind of says part of where you're based in the name, but do you want to give us a bit of a background to actually, you know, what you do, who you are, and how you help businesses?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. So we work with local business owners and local business leaders to, first of all, help them identify where they're trying to take their business, make sure they achieve those goals, and then get recognized for those achievements as well, whether that is as a business owner where you're making more profit inside the business, or maybe it's something different. I mean, some businesses, the business owner's not so much worried about the money, but wants to spend time with his family or doing his hobby or whatever it is. Everyone is motivated by something different, and it's finding what those people want and then making sure that they understand how they're going to get there. And as the name suggests, we look after an area that runs from Kettering in the south, around Market Harborough, all the way up to Rutland in the north of the area as well.
Yeah, great. And the kind of businesses you're actually working with, I mean, they're all different industries, are they? Or is it all set to one specific industry?
No, we're a number of different industries. The bottom line is that although every business thinks they are different, the fundamentals that sit underneath all businesses are pretty much the same. There's certain things that every business has to focus on. And the first of those you've already alluded to, which is having a clear idea of what you want the business to become. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But then it's also every business needs to have an understanding of its finances. They need to know how much money is coming in and how much money is going out. And more importantly, they need to have a plan as to what that's going to look like in the future. So they know what their expenses are going to be and therefore how much revenue they've got to have coming into the business to cover it. And then, of course, just making sure that your business consistently delivers great service to your clients so that your clients keep coming back to you as well. And then on top of that, we work with clients around their sales and marketing and then developing the systems that allow the business to scale effectively. And of course, having the right team in place and making sure that team is working really effectively together to give the best performance that the business can. And obviously, ultimately, to give you happy customers to ensure more business as well.
Yeah, there's a lot there when you unpack it all, isn't there? And when you said when you said literally just a minute ago, it was about, you know, just the fundamentals of every business is the same. Yeah, it is sales, profit, and cash. But at the end of the day, you must come across a lot of variety of different industries, and people have different ways of working. But yeah, I mean, I suppose they all do work the same, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, every business is different. You can't compare somebody who's running a restaurant with somebody who's a builder. They're quite different businesses. They're quite different marketplaces, but the basics they need to have in place are the same. My job is, having identified those basics, to work with the business owners, with the business leaders, to help them develop the approach to that market that is effective in their particular business. You wouldn't, the marketing that you're going to do for, let's go back to the restaurant example. The marketing you do around a restaurant will be very different to the marketing that a builder is going to do to get work.
No, absolutely. Well, these are the kind of people you're working with. But in the introduction, we said about the business planning event, and you're looking to work with us on the event in March. Looking forward to it. So business planning, before we sort of talk about the importance of why people should, let's talk about the actual day. Let's talk about what's actually going to happen on the day. 13th of March at Kettering, or the Holiday Inn Express along Rockingham Road. What can people expect to do on the actual workshop we're looking at?
So the whole idea of the day is to make sure that the participants leave the day with, first of all, a very clear understanding of where they want their business to go, what they want it to be in the future. And I think you see this a lot with businesses where they just drift almost from year to year with no clear goal of what they're looking to achieve. But actually, by having that clear goal in place, you're much more likely to achieve it. And if you look at most successful companies, they have a very clear objective for their business, supported by a very clear strategy that not just the business owner, but the whole company understands and is therefore able to support it as well. So the idea is that as they come out of the session on the 13th of March, they'll have a clear understanding of where they want the business to go. They'll have then decided on what the strategies they want to put in place are to allow them to achieve their goals. And then, of course, actually having identified the strategies, of course, you then need to back that up with a plan of how you're going to achieve those strategies, how you're going to execute on them. And then finally, of course, it's great to have a plan, but if you don't follow the plan, you're never going to achieve the goals. So to finish off the day, we also want to talk about how the participants will monitor their progress towards their goals by monitoring their progress against the plan as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, looking forward to it. It should be a really good event for people to come and understand not only more about what you do, but obviously the value they're going to receive from that workshop. Because so many business owners, I think, kind of a little bit concerned around planning, aren't they? I mean, the ones I talk to, you've got those that know what they're doing, they stick to the plan rigidly, they know where they're heading, and then you get those that are like, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing, but I make it up as I go along. And I suppose we're not even. Oh, you might even get those that come along that are in that sort of bucket, but you've also got those that maybe want to rechange the plan or diversify in a different direction. Will this suit for them as well?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the bottom line is, nobody would get into their car and start driving randomly without an idea of where they were going. Even if you decided all you were going to do was take your car off the drive and park it on the road, you've got a very clear idea of where it's going. So once you've decided where you're going in the car, you then, whether you do it by using your sat nav or you just do it in your head, you map out the routes you're going to use to get to that place. And it's exactly the same with a business. Why wouldn't you do it in a business? If you're going to get to where you want to be, you've got to have a very clear route to how you're going to get there. And then, of course, you've got to know what are the, if you like, the things you have to do along the route to make sure you achieve it. So, every time you get to a junction, do you turn left or do you turn right? When do you turn off the main road? All those sorts of things. Those are the goals you've got to set yourself along the route to make sure that you're progressing in the right direction. And I think the other thing you've just hit on there as well, Simon, was that with the plan, it's great that the business owner has a plan of what they want the business to be, and more importantly, of course, how they're going to get there. But actually making sure that the rest of your team understand those goals and that plan is absolutely essential, because you don't have to be very far off course for it to make a big difference to the way the business behaves as well. So you need to make sure that everybody has exactly the same idea of where the business is going and how you're going to achieve it and is executing towards it to make sure you get there as efficiently as possible. So it's actually worth having the more difficult conversations when you're putting the plan together about exactly what it's going to be, because it makes life a lot easier further on down the line as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. If you jump in the car and drive to Scotland from Northamptonshire, I mean, at the end of the day, you need the map or you need the sat nav. And if only there was a sat nav for business, I mean, that would be fantastic, wouldn't it? But there's not. So we do need these plans. I mean, you haven't come across one yet, have you? A sat nav for business?
There's a lot of tools out there to make the whole process easier, that's for sure, Simon. But there isn't one that'll do it for you, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, that's great. The actual workshop, I mean, who's it suited towards? Is it suited to maybe someone that's starting out on their journey, or is it someone that's a sole trader that's looking to grow, or someone that's actually employing teams at the moment that may be looking to bring a new plan to the business?
So we're structuring it very much so it suits anybody who wants to put a business plan together. So that could, as you say, could quite simply be somebody who's just starting out in business and wants to make sure that they have a good structure for the first few years. It could be somebody who's got a relatively established business and realizes that they have to change as a business leader as the business has changed, because it's all very well if there's one or two, you've got a very small team, 5 people, something like that. Yep, the business leader can talk to everybody in the team every day, so it's easier to keep control. As the business grows, the business leader with the best will is not going to be able to talk to 20 people every day, so he has to be very clear in what he's asking them to do. So, but the techniques that we're going to be talking about will work for both the new starter and the person who's got the established business, or even somebody who's in a bigger business as well. I mean, in my history, I've worked for big businesses, and we still go through the planning exercise. It scales down. There's a sort of waterfall effect goes on in big businesses, so there'll be the plan right at the top of the business that will then be passed down to the managers underneath, who will in turn have their own plan that they pass down to their team as well. But the techniques are applicable to everybody.
Yeah, brilliant. As I said, we were really looking forward to it and working with you on it, and getting some businesses together that are looking to either put that plan in place or to learn more about what business planning looks like. I suppose one question I should have asked right at the beginning is, why do we actually need a plan? But I suppose we've kind of covered that off with the sat-nav analogy, haven't we? But is there anything you wanted to sort of add to that, why businesses should have this plan?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, planning is so key. And actually, we often say it's not just the documenting the plan that's important, but it's the time you spend thinking about the plan and putting it together that's also really important. Because when you start to write down what you're going to do, you start to realize where the problems are in the plan, so you can actually start to take action against them in advance. And then, of course, having a clear plan ties into so many other areas of your business as well. So having a clear plan, of course, is going to help you develop your budget and your budgetary forecasts for the business. Your budget, by the way, is one of the best indicators of what your business is doing at any point in time and what it's going to become in the future. It also helps if you've got a plan, you know what you have to gear up your production to deal with. So you can start to think about, if you're growing the business, your plan says that you're going to grow your revenue by 50%. There's a good chance that you've also got to grow your production capability by 50% to support it as well. And then, of course, on the other side, it also, when you're recruiting staff, if people know what your business is all about, so where you're trying to take it, how you're going to get there, and also, of course, the culture that you have in the business, all part of the planning process, but also it's what attracts people to your business. If they like your vision, if they like the sort of culture you've got, if they like how you're going to get there, they're more likely to want to work for you than somebody who doesn't have those basic building blocks in place as well. So I think the planning exercise itself and what the plan gives you is far more than just a document that you, let's face it, historically, a lot of people have put their business plan together to go and get money from their bank manager or something of that ilk. And then it just goes into the top drawer, never to be opened again. It needs to be a living, working document as well. So, and that's why we're going to spend some time talking about how you monitor progress against your plan during the session as well.
So it's 13th of March, which is a Wednesday. 9 o'clock is when we're saying, look, come along, come and grab a coffee. Let's get to know each other. And then we're going to start around sort of 9:30 through until about midday. Is that right?
Yes. So run it through till 12 o'clock. And I think we ran a similar exercise or similar workshop to this around sales at the end of last year as well, didn't we, Simon? And one of I think the big takeaways from that was having a group of people in the room from different businesses and different backgrounds. They all start to work together as well. So you start to get different perspectives in the room. So I think having that group environment with the different views of the subject in the room is actually very useful in helping people's understanding as well.
Yeah, that's the ethical selling workshop that you're referring to, and it was a great workshop actually because it gave people different, dimension, different ways to look at what they need to do really to get their products moved or the service moved or whatever. And I think episode 11 of what we've done with the podcast, the minister Kevin Hollinrake is talking about a room full of business people is always an exciting place to be. And I've never thought about it that way until he said it. And I thought, you're absolutely right, because people start working together, but also, creativity and entrepreneurship really comes to the forefront, doesn't it? And I'm looking forward to it. As I say, I think it'd be a great way to reflect on what we've done so far, but also what more we could do as things change, because businesses need to replan every so often when circumstances change, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. And I think the key point in all that as well, it's moving beyond the very um, uh, shallow conversations you tend to have at networking events, and building on those conversations outside of the event to really get to understand what's happening in the other businesses. That's where the magic lies as well, because you're never really going to understand what somebody else is going to do in their business in a 10-15 minute conversation. But actually, if you can sit down and spend some time talking about it and start to look at some common shared problems, that's when the great ideas will come up that you can use in your business as well.
Yeah, brilliant. So if you're interested in getting involved and coming along to the workshop that we're talking about, that Rupert's talking about, go to our website, nnbn.co.uk, go to the events page. You scroll down there, you'll see it's on there. It's very, very colourful and a great graphic that we've got on there that's highlighting the business planning workshop. 13th of March. It's completely free of charge. It's open to local businesses that want to come along and understand more about what Rupert's delivering, and Angela from is it Blue Dragonfly, Angela's business?
Blue Dragonfly Insights.
That's it, Blue Dragonfly Insights. So looking forward to seeing what's going to get delivered on the day. And thank you for obviously investing in the community and actually bringing that workshop to the forefront as well. Now, talking of other workshops, there's other things you guys do. You don't just do this one, do you? There's other workshops that you can provide as well.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. We do a sort of a program of workshops throughout the year. So we've got coming up next week on Tuesday, the 13th of February, we're running a team workshop, which is all about getting your team to work as effectively as possible together. So if you employ more than one person, you need to start thinking about how you operate as a team. So that's available. We're running that at the Wisteria Hotel in Oakham. And then actually continuing on with the planning theme as well, what we're talking about on the March the 13th is your plan for a period of sort of 3 to 5 years. What we also do is to start to break that down into manageable chunks throughout the year. So we do that every quarter, and we do that in an event we call Growth Club, which we run with a number of other action coaches actually over in Coventry, which is coming up on the 22nd of March as well. And what we'd like to do in that is the day is very much structured so that you can learn from the other 100 businesses in the room, that you can also pose some of the difficult problem, or the biggest difficulty you have in your business, and get answers from the other people in the room. And we also like to have a guest speaker in there, somebody who's going to be very inspirational and give you some great ideas to work on your business as well. And of course doing the plan for the next 90 days as well.
Yeah, brilliant. So if people want to find out more information about the events that you're organising and all the workshops that you're doing, we keep hearing this word plan. Maybe that's come on, guys, we need to plan to actually see where we're heading here. So I do like hearing it, and I do love to plan as well. So, but if people want to find out more information, where's the best place to find that information?
Best thing to do is to have a look at our website, and the easiest way to find that is simply to go into your search engine and type in Action Coach Oakham. We'll come up, and then if you go to our events page, you can see all the activities that we're running we're on the rolling program. So we're constantly adding new events out to sort of 6 months time, and we've got more planned after that we haven't put on the events page yet.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm actually browsing. I'm proving I can multitask. I'm actually browsing your website while listening, and I can see you've got your coaching programs on there as well, which where you're saying that you can actually work with individuals as well as business owners as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you like, that's the thing that, if you like, my biggest passion. I love working with other businesses, working with a business one-to-one. It's just, you never walk out of a coaching session without that business having taken a step forward. Sometimes it's a small step, sometimes it's a big step, but just seeing the businesses move forward. And more importantly, of course, my role is to develop the people that we're working with, so the business owners or the business leaders, and help them them get to a point where they don't need us anymore. If you like, there's almost built-in obsolescence into the program as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Not that you want to do that. You actually want to see. Well, I suppose you do, don't you? You do want to sort of see people come from somewhere to move on, so that technically they've sort of outgrown what you can offer. Is that a right thing to say?
In theory, yes. I mean, the reality is that actually, as they go, the longer we coach them, the things that we had to work on very closely in the early days. If I'm working with somebody who's never had to put a budget together before, we're going to have to put the budget together. They have to learn to do it. But actually, once people have been through the cycle, they can do that without as much involvement from me. So we can start to look at different issues inside the business. And what's very interesting, we ask the clients every 6 months or so, we just get them to grade themselves in each area of their business, and it's quite interesting how the scores change. So sometimes when we first ask them, they score themselves high in an area, and then a year later they'll score themselves low in the area, simply because they now understand what they don't know about that part of their business.
Yeah, and I suppose that gives them insights and knowledge and education, and probably a couple of shocks as well, maybe.
Oh yeah, I mean, actually, a lot of coaching, we're looking to first of all, to find the things that are going well and to make sure that the business does more of it. But the flip side is to make sure that the things that aren't working, we identify and do something about it. If you don't identify the problem and fix the problem, you're not going to make progress. And I mean, there's a reason that I think that the statistic's terrifying. It's something like 96% of all new businesses in the UK fail within the first 10 years.
Yeah,
and a lot of that is because people just aren't watching the basics inside their business and having that in place. But if you don't know how much cash you've got in the bank and how much you've got available to invest in the future, you're eventually going to trip over yourself and spend money you don't have. If you don't know where the business is going, you're not going to put in place the right things to get to that point. So there's a number of things that businesses can do to at least make sure they understand where they are at every point in the journey. I can't guarantee business success, but at least we can make the chances of failure substantially lower.
Yeah, and failure rates of, you're quite right. I mean, a lot of people don't make it past certain year periods or anything, do they? Fall over, fall out of love with it, realise it's actually quite difficult to run quite hard to run a business. And also, I suppose, I think, businesses that don't have, mentors, coaches around them because they think they know it. And I remember talking to Angela about this before, actually, on our startup day, when we were saying about why people actually need a coach or someone to work with. And it is important to actually, continue the growth, not only so much from the personal point of view, for the business as well, isn't it?
Oh yes, no, absolutely. And you can't. Let's face it. I mean, I have a coach, and I know what we're talking about. This is what I do day in, day out. But sometimes you're so close to your own business, you can't see the things that you need to be thinking about. So it's actually having somebody who's prepared to have those difficult conversations with you, pull you up out of your comfort zone, if you like, and actually make you face the realities of where you are at any point in time. And there's a flip side to that as well, because I mean, family are always interesting, because on the one hand, your family don't want to, you have to maintain the relationship, so you can't necessarily have the difficult conversations with your wife, because you've still got to continue to be married with her. You wouldn't want to have that conversation with maybe your best friend, because you still want him to be your best friend. So it's having somebody who's disconnected from you enough that they'll have those difficult conversations with you, but at the same time you want that person to be supportive of what you're doing as well. So it's somebody who's prepared to have the difficult conversations to make sure you're successful in what you're trying to do, and not have to worry about whether you're still on speaking terms come dinner time.
Yeah, and I can assure you I've certainly been there with that in the past with family businesses that we've had, where sometimes you're sort of looking at it thinking, that's got to be done, and there's the deadline, and then somebody else in the family is saying, well, actually, I just need to go and buy a birthday card. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, no, this isn't how it is, And I can understand it goes on within family businesses. I can speak from experience without a doubt. We still talk to each other, which is good. It's not as if it's all problems or anything. But needless to say, we don't operate a business together anymore. But there we go. But listen, Rupert, thank you for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. Looking forward to the workshop.
It's been great.
And I've got your website on the screen. So it's, but you said go into Google, have a look for Action Coach Oakham, and it will come up in the search results. And of course, follow what we're doing through NNBN, because we'll be publicising the workshop as well, and any others that you want to send over to us, we'll push those out for you as well. And of course, if you want to be a guest on the podcast, get in contact with me, hello@nnbn.co.uk. Let's talk about you, talk about your stories, talk about what's going on, and get your message out there. But yeah, Rupert, thanks for joining me.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you for having me.